What's going on, you guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital and welcome to the video. In this video, we're talking all about 3 small cap silver mining stocks that I've done a ton of research on. This was one of the most requested videos on the channel following our Keith Neumeyer interview along with the $100 bullish case for silver. So the first thing I wanted to say was check out those 2 videos if you didn't have the chance and you have an interest in silver. I will quickly display them here, or you can simply search Departures Capital Silver. They're 2 of our best videos yet. But let's dive into this video, guys. We go in depth on these 3 companies, comparing the financials, the mineral reserves, production, and all their properties. So this is gonna be an awesome video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, if you do support the channel, then don't forget to smash that like button. Kindly appreciate it, and it just takes 1 second of your time. Along with, if you are a new viewer to the channel, yet you want to stay constantly up to date on the markets, you love learning about investing, and you appreciate a constant flow of new and exciting companies, CEO interviews, then don't forget to smash that subscribe button and bell for notifications, and let's dive straight into this video, guys. So the first thing I want to talk about is the question, why silver? Why silver? Why am I so bullish on silver? Well, there's many reasons why I'm bullish on silver, and I go over that in my Will We See $100 Silver Soon video. But to sum it up for anyone who's wondering, at least in this video, just in a few quick seconds, you know, silver has such an industrial use, but it's also a safe haven metal. So the economy is going to need more and more silver in the years to come. A ton of silver goes into electronics, and a ton of silver goes into electric vehicles. So the demand for these 2 items specifically is only going to increase along with all the other uses, and silver being a safe haven metal. So let's simply check the performance of silver over the past little while. We're going to talk about silver price targets and dive into these 3 companies. So as we can see here, guys, silver initially tanked when the markets tanked with this whole global illness crash. And since then, silver has been skyrocketing back up, trading right in around 18 bucks per ounce. We're currently trading for 17.97 as of Friday's trade. There's many factors driving silver. Silver tends to get some support from gold when gold moves up. And then when the economy starts to do a little bit better, silver also gets that, industrial demand, that industrial support. To sum it up, silver is in tight supply, and I feel like this is drastically going to change over the next couple of years, which should send silver much higher. Now let's quickly talk about price targets before we dive into these 3 companies. So in terms of price targets for the medium term, we can see anywhere from 18 to the mid 20s, other than Keith Neumeyer with $130 silver price forecast. So if you guys want to learn about that or figure out why he's got a $130 price target, then check out our video. It's got almost 80,000 views, and it was a pretty awesome interview. Now it's time to dive into these 3 small cap silver mining companies, and I gotta say, I'm excited to talk about the small cap sector because at least at the start of a bull market, which is where I think we're at for gold and silver specifically, I think this is the place to be. It's much more risky. Always do your research and due diligence. This is never financial advice, but generally the higher the risk, the higher the reward. And in the small cap sector, usually a lot of returns are made at the start of a bull market, especially with companies like this. So let's start with Impact Silver. With a market cap of just $75 million, a 52-week range of 22 cents to 74 cents, the stock has had a tremendous run. But let's compare over the past 5 years. The stock has been much higher. It's been over $1, but I feel like this stock has quite a lot of room to run. If silver does in fact break above 1850 and really push higher into the 20s, into the 30s, we'll see how far silver goes if it gets that high. That's the performance. Now let's take a look at the company. So what's the company all about? So Impact Silver Corp. Impact Silver operates 2 silver production centers with its 100% owned 211 square kilometer claim package located 3 hours southwest of Mexico City. So for anyone who doesn't know, Mexico is the world's biggest silver mining district. The most amount of silver is produced in Mexico, and you see a lot of big companies, even First Majestic, Pan American Silver, they're all in Mexico. But this company focus on Mexico. So let's dive into their investor presentation. And the one thing I wanted to highlight about this company is it's so tied to silver. Over 90% of their revenues come from silver. So if you're looking for a leveraged, almost pure play miner, this is probably the one for you. So let's take a look at the company, see what they're all about. And also let's take a look at their shareholder structure. Strong technical and financial team bringing mines to production, prolific Mexican silver district with almost 500 years of production, excellent infrastructure, labor force, and power grid, over 10 million ounces of silver produced since 2016 with over 90% of the revenue from silver. So management and insiders own 10%, institutional funds own 20%, and retail owns 70% of the company. So that's something to keep in mind, with Eric Sprott being one of the select fund investors. So it's good to see that Eric Sprott does own a percentage of this company. One of the purest silver producers with over 90% of their revenues coming from silver. So that's definitely one of the biggest highlights for me when it comes to this company. 100% owned and operated large 211 kilometer squared mineral concession package in south central Mexico. Now we're talking about their 4 producing mines. This is Q1 2020. This is the newest investor presentation. Guadalupe Q1 38% of production, Vida Negara Q1 17% of production, San Ramon Q1 22% of production, and Chuhara Q1 23% of production. So we can see they have 4 producing mines. So just a few more things to highlight, guys. In Q1 of 2020, they produced 178,994 ounces of silver, and in the entire year they produced 664,056 ounces of silver. So take production into account. So that's pretty much Impact Silver in a nutshell, with 90% exposure to silver in terms of their revenues. But we will be comparing that in our spreadsheet, our thorough spreadsheet that I put together for you guys. But those are the most important things that I personally think, we should focus on. Second company we're talking about is Silver One Resources, with a market cap of $84.34 million and a 52-week range of 15 cents to 54 cents. Once again, this stock is much closer to 52-week highs, but like I said, if silver does in fact break out over 20, 30 bucks an ounce, these stocks have a lot of room to run, just in my personal opinion. So now let's dive into their website and see what this company is all about. So Silver One Resources. Silver One is focused on the exploration and development of quality silver projects. The company holds an option to acquire a 100% interest in its flagship project, the past producing Calderia mine located in Nevada. The company is currently conducting metallurgical tests to determine the best methods for the potential recoveries of silver from the historic leach pads. Silver One is also currently drilling in the Calderia project with the goal of updating the sizable historic resource to current, and is testing the potential for a down dip high grade zone of silver mineralization as indicated in previous drilling completed by Silver Standard in 2001. Additional opportunities lie in potentially increasing the substantive silver mineralization along strike from the 2 past producing open pits. So this company isn't producing yet, but they're in the process of advancing some of their assets. So this one very interesting because there's more uncertainty, the fact that they're not producing just yet, they're just advancing assets. But if they get to that point and silver is much higher, this stock will play catch up with the market like light speed. And I've seen this happen many times, specifically companies like Bluestone Resources. Thing was trading at $1, it wasn't producing, plans to produce in a couple of years, and then bam, the thing's almost at $2 already. So Silver One building a silver company ranked within the top 10 performing mining sector stocks on the 2020 Venture 50, the TSX Venture Exchange. So let's take a look at their project. So the Calderia Mine Project, this is their flagship project. Past producing mine, 68 million ounces with large unexploited historic silver resource. Cherokee Project, 100% ownership attracting interested parties. Phoenix Silver Project, option to acquire the 100% interest. Strong financial backing, public market support. So here we go, reiterating the uses for silver: industrial, jewelry, coins and bars, electronics and electric cars, like we see photography, and brazing alloys and solders. So stocks versus gold and silver. As we can see here, guys, silver has underperformed all of their assets in this comparison. So I'm a long-term bull on silver. We don't got to sell you guys on this again. Gold price driven by US debt. We all know what's going on right now with unprecedented amounts of stimulus. This is, we've seen all these bubbles, the tech bubble, the Japanese bubble, Asian shares, Bitcoin bubble, gold, and silver's got to play catch up eventually, in my opinion. So why invest in the junior mining sector? And I think this is very important. So the life cycle of a mine. So higher risk, confirmed deposit becomes a tier 3 company. Reality sets in, goes down, lower risk, production decision, and then startup becomes a tier 2 company. So we've got discovery, development, investment analysis, and then production. So that's usually how it works. Investors get all hyped up about the discovery, and then they realize they got to develop the mine, figure out the best way to extract the metal, and then production starts, and then things start to look better. The best entry point is after the deposit's been confirmed, after they've figured out, how they're going to set up the mine and start production. And the best time to pretty much own these stocks, and usually when they perform the best, is when they are producing, they're making lots of money. It totally makes sense. So one thing I love about this company is where their mines are, where their projects are. And the areas that they're targeting, they're pretty much targeting safer mining jurisdictions. I think the US and Canada are two of the safest mining jurisdictions, just my own personal opinion. Not to mention right now we know what's going on in Mexico with the difficulties when it comes to taxation. So that is something else to take into consideration when you're looking at companies in Mexico. But at the same time, we gotta accept and understand that Mexico is the world's most popular silver mining jurisdiction. I personally own shares of multiple companies that are mining silver in Mexico, so it's to be taken with a grain of salt, but this is a positive when it comes to comparing these companies. So when investing into Silver One, there are a few things that investors should keep in mind. First, the company's not actually producing silver. They plan to advance their projects and hopefully produce in the future. And the second thing investors should really take a look at is their assets. Take a look at the grade, understand that this is not a producer. This is more so, an exploration stage company that is just looking to advance their assets, but does carry potential upside down the road. So a very unique company, a little bit complicated when it comes to understanding their investor presentation, but that's what I want to touch on without getting too technical. And we will compare their financials because they are looking pretty good. So we'll get into that a little bit later on in this video. Now, a third company we're taking a look at is called Arcana. So Arcana currently trading for 54 cents with $110 million market cap and a 52-week range of 15 cents to 67 cents. Over the past couple of years, Arcana has traded much higher. It's traded almost as high as $3 per share, and it's gone as low as you can see, just 15 cents. So in my opinion, this one looks to be the most undervalued, but we will be comparing the financials in just 2 seconds. So let's dive into their website, their investor presentation, and then we'll get on with the comparison. So Arcana is a Vancouver-based company whose shares are listed for trading on the TSX Venture. Arcana acquired Ore Silver Mines, Inc., which owns the Revenue Virgilius polymetallic mine in Ore, Colorado. In December 2018, a new mill was built in 2011, and the mine was last operated in 2015 before being placed on care and maintenance. Since 2015, more than $20 million has been invested in technical work on the asset. In June 2018, an updated feasibility study was completed and the mine was fully permitted for immediate production. Arcana is now focused on securing the required financing to put the Revenue Virgilius mine back into production. Arcana also owns the Shafter Silver Project located in Presidio County, southwest Texas. The Shafter project was advanced and substantially built prior to being placed on care and maintenance in December 2013. In September 2018, the company also revisited the preliminary economic assessment for Shafter, and the project is fully permitted. So by the sounds of it, Arcana has bought 2 assets. They put some money into them, got the mines back up online, and it's a pretty interesting company. So let's take a look at their investor presentation, and then we'll compare all of the financials. So Arcana, silver leverage near-term production. So there are some very interesting things I wanted to point out here. So they own 100% of the Revenue Virgilius mine, a prior producing silver, gold, lead, zinc mine located in Ore, Colorado. The mine is fully permitted for immediate production. Very nice reserves of 21.2 million ounces silver equivalent, measured and indicated of 29.9 million ounces, a low AISC of $8 per ounce, 9 months to cash flow positive from project start. Existing mine, mill, and infrastructure benefit from over $90 million US of investment since 2011. Once again, a more favorable mining jurisdiction located in the United States versus, jurisdictions like Mexico. Fully permitted for immediate production, proven management team, precious metal hard rock mine with base metal credit. Now their feasibility study highlights, and I think this is very important, so 29.9 million ounces measured and indicated, inferred 13.2 million ounces, and 21.2 million ounces proven and probable. Very important. 3.1 million ounces, first 5 full years of production. So that's how much they're going to be producing, is around 3.1 million ounces. And the first 5 full years of production in terms of AISC, $7.38 per ounce, with a length of mine AISC of $8 per ounce. So extremely low. They'll profit right away. So guys, that pretty much sums up Arcana in a nutshell. They've got some pretty awesome reserves. They've got some pretty awesome production and an extremely low AISC. So let's dive into the comparison of these 3 companies now. And we've compared it on a few different levels: current assets, current liabilities, market cap, stockholders equity, price to book ratio. So let's dive into that right now. So in terms of the 3 companies, the best in terms of the current ratio is Arcana, with 6.3 million in current assets and only 358,000 in current liabilities. The current ratio is just a measure of the company's near-term financial health. If they were to, if they were to pay off all their liabilities, how many assets would they have at the end? A measure of over 1 indicates the company is in pretty good financial health. So in Arcana's case, they're in very good financial health. Impact Silver 2.57, still pretty good compared to Arcana, definitely in last place. So now we're talking about a price to book ratio. So the higher the price to book ratio, obviously investors think and are willing to pay more for the company. So price to book ratio is just what the company's worth above and beyond, let's say, their physical assets like their property, plant, and equipment and all that other stuff. So basically the book value of the company. So in terms of price to book ratio, the lowest price to book ratio is once again Arcana at 1.59, and the highest price to book ratio is Silver One Resources at 4.67. So the higher, I'd say, the worse, because we want to find those undervalued companies. So Arcana has 69 million in stockholder equity compared to just 18 with Silver One and 38 for Impact Silver. All these companies have very similar market caps. I wanted to mention that as well. And in terms of cash, Arcana also has the most amount of cash at 5.9 million compared to just 942 million in cash for Silver One, and a nice 3.8 million for Impact Silver. So that was one important thing I wanted to highlight. So for these two companies, I couldn't find the AISC. We know that the AISC at Arcana is $8 an ounce for the length of the mine, which I think is pretty good. Proven and probable silver reserves 21.1 million ounces, and then inferred 13.2 million ounces. So it's pretty clear that Arcana has a pretty nice asset. And then of course, in terms of production, 3.1 million ounces for the first 5 years. Now, a few more things to note when it comes to Impact Silver. They are producing 664,000 ounces of silver currently, and 90% of their revenues come from silver. So comparing the three companies, I gotta say I favor Arcana from a valuation perspective and from a production perspective, and I favor their mining jurisdictions. We also need to take into account that Eric Sprott does own a portion of Impact Silver, so there's a reason behind that. Obviously, Eric Sprott is a seasoned investor. So there's more research to be done on these three companies, and that's the hardest part when it comes to researching these smaller cap mining stocks, is they don't have as much information available, and sometimes it's hard to compare them. But of the three, personally, my first pick would be Arcana. I like the mining jurisdictions, I like their production, and then the last thing I wanted to say when it comes to these three specific small cap silver miners, if you are looking for, pretty much a pure play silver miner, Impact Silver does get 90% of their revenues from silver. So if you are looking for, the one miner that's most attached to silver, I would probably go with Impact, because once again, over 90% of their revenues are coming from silver, and Eric Sprott does own a portion of the company, which I do feel is very significant. So let me know in the comments, guys, what your top 3 silver mining stocks are, whether they're small cap, large cap. Let me know your top silver picks. I'd love to hear it. That's it for the video. I'm out of here, guys. Always remember, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decision for yourself. This video is not financial advice. We'll see you guys in our next video.